welcome to the Bookish Quilter, where we talk about quilts and we talk about books. My name is Barbara, and today we're going to talk about foundation paper piecing using freezer paper. This is similar to regular foundation paper piecing, which you've probably tried and said it's a tedious mess to pick out your foundations. But in this way, using freezer paper, you're not stitching through the paper itself. And when you're finished with your block, you can peel it off in one piece, as I did with this. Furthermore, your foundations are reusable. You can often get 5 or 6 blocks out of each foundation. We're going to make this piece here today, a square in a square in a square. I'm going to show you how to draft your foundation any size. But of course, if you have a pattern that you want to make, you're just going to print it up and trace it onto freezer paper. Now, freezer paper does come as printable sheets for quilters, but I purchased mine by the roll in the supermarket. This is almost empty. I've had it for years, and I use it for a number of craft processes. I'm going to show you next how I draft my square in a square in a square block like this. To draft the pattern for your block, you're going to need a piece of freezer paper, the size of the finished size of the block plus a 1/2 inch. So this finishes at 8 inch, so you need to cut a piece of freezer paper to 8.5 inches square. You're going to very carefully draw a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around your block. Now, to get your square in a square in a square design, you're going to fold your freezer paper in half very carefully. You're going to unfold, fold in half the other direction. And then you're going to do the same thing diagonally. Fold it diagonally in half. And open and then fold it in the other direction. The creases are going to be your guidelines to drafting your block. So you're going to draw your first line from the seam allowance right here where it crosses that crease to right there, like this. Then you're going to go to the next one. The next place where it crosses the seam allowance right there. And again. Oops, didn't quite go all the way there. And once more. That's what your pattern's going to look like. Now you're going to draw a line from where the diagonal fold, right here, crosses that line to the next place where a diagonal fold crosses the line you've just drawn. So we're going to go like this. And like this. Like this. hand like this. And that is your pattern. Now this is the one I did, which I have all numbered. You're going to start with number 1 in the middle, number 2, number 3 is the triangle opposite number 2, and then number 4 and number 5. Then you're going to go 6, 7, again the opposite triangle, 8 and 9. To make it easier, I like to take a piece of cardstock and fold on each line and put a nice sharp crease there. And that just saves you a little bit of time later on. Now from each foundation, you should be able to easily get 5 or 6 blocks. After that point, the freezer paper is going to lose its stickiness. I was able to do a fairly good sized lap quilt, I believe with about 6 foundations. So now we're going to start sewing. You're going to turn your pattern over, plastic side up, and center your square, your first square, number 1, right side up on top. You want to make sure that it extends beyond your lines or creases on all 4 sides. I then like to press it down. I turn it over. I prefer to press from the paper side. Don't have to fuss, just a light pressing. Now you're going to fold back the seam allowance between number 1 and number 2. Your pattern is creased there, so it'll be easy to fold back. And once you have it like that, you're going to take a ruler and trim that seam allowance to 1/4 inch. This is a add a quarter ruler. These are great if you have one. If not, just use any ruler that has a clear 1/4 inch mark on it. So now your next step is you're going to take number 2 and you're going to line it up face down with that seam allowance lined up with that. And I'm going to put a little pin here just to prevent it from slipping. You're going to fold back on the line, and now what you're doing is you are not stitching through your paper. You're stitching as close as you can get to that line without going through it. And I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you what I've done. Okay, I've sewn that on. I'm going to flip that back, finger press, and again, I'm going to flip and just give it a quick tap with an iron. And now we're going to go to number 3. Again, fold back on the line. Trim to 1/4 inch. Take your next piece, right sides together, pin down and flip back your pattern again and sew up right up to the line. You're going to repeat this until you have all your pieces sewn. Now that you have your block finished, you're going to give it one final press to the freezer so it sticks to the freezer paper, and then you're going to turn it over and trim the excess fabric. You're cutting your fabric to the size of the paper, not to this line here. So you're just going to trim. And now for the magic. Your foundation has come off in one piece, and there is your finished block. This is where I would normally be giving you a book review, but today I'm not. I have a special announcement to make. I'm starting a block of the month. It will be starting within the next couple days. So if this is something you'd like to do, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post it. It should be up within, as I said, within the next couple of days. And I'll see you soon. Have a great day.